Hey, here it is again, Sunny Speaks. And right now we're going to do a session that's geared towards this whole, the murder of George Floyd and the aftermath that we see popping off in cities across the nation. Here in Chicago, it is off the chain. And we'll talk about that a little later. But in other cities across the nation, we see in the aftermath. And so I decided, well, let's hear from a group of people, a variety of different people, just their thoughts. Because, I mean, people's feelings and emotions and thoughts and philosophies are all over the place. So we're checking in today with a few people. And our first guest is
Mary Hogan.
We have the same last name. Look at there. All right. So this is my mother right here. So we're gonna just ask her a few questions about this incident and just kind of where she feels. So first, just tell us what your thoughts were initially when you heard about the incident that happened to George Floyd or the murder of George Floyd, or do you see it as a murder? Just let's hear about your thoughts on it in general.
Well, first of all, let me say I have not seen the entire video. I saw clippings of it, and I purposely didn't want to see it. It saddens me. It moves me to tears, actually. I don't watch a lot of violent TV if I can help it because it has a tremendous effect on me. So when I heard about what happened, of course, I was saddened. And then when I heard about all the retaliation, the protesting, I think I don't have a problem with that. But all the looting and violence, it just kind of disheartens me.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of people are kind of like making people choose between these two sides, like people over profit and property. You know, some people is like, I don't care about people's property. I care more about the person that was lost, or I don't care about, I mean, I care about the person who was lost, but look at what we're doing to the communities. What is your thoughts about that?
Well, you know, I talked to someone today and they said something about it's wrong to burn things up and to vandalize things, you know, and this person I talked to said that that's kind of what we've learned from in history, you know, and talked about the burning of Black Wall Street in Tulsa and different areas where we had things that we thought were going to be prosperous for us, and as a result, they ended up being burned up. So, unfortunately, it seems like we've learned some of the wrong lessons from people. And we do know that economy and the dollar is real important to people in our country. That's one of the reasons I think they're trying to open things up to get the economy going again. So if you want to really hurt the powers that be, if you do things that affect the economy, even though I don't agree with looting, I don't agree with stealing, I don't agree with breaking people's windows out of their establishments, but this is what it seems like the powers that be understand. Things that affect the economy. And this certainly does. Of course it does. It's violence too. It could affect people's lives.
Okay. So it's almost like the ends justify the means. Is that what you're saying? It's kind of like,
I'm not saying that. I'm saying that we've learned some wrong lessons from things in the past, and sometimes when things happen, people get. I don't think the majority of the people that are protesting about George Floyd are the same people that are rioting and looting. I think those are opportunists. There are people, I think some of them just plain criminals. They just going in and taking advantage of a situation and doing things that they know are illegal. But while everybody's doing this, I'm going to do it and get what I can get where everybody else is getting something too. And some of them are antagonists that have been put in to make the demonstration look like it's violent when really it wasn't. I don't think it started out that way at all.
Okay. Well, when you say put in, what do you mean by that?
When I say what?
You said that some of the people are antagonists that were put in.
I think people take advantage of situations
Mm-hmm.
and do things wrong. And I think to some degree, some of the antagonists they might have been instigated to do that. A group of people might have said, well, while they doing this, go in and do this. It's going to take the emphasis off of what's really going on
Mm-hmm.
and put the emphasis on something negative, which instead of it being something positive.
Do you think that's worked?
Seems like it has, doesn't it?
I don't know. I'm getting, people are very upset in Chicago. There's a lot of damage in Chicago with property and buildings, and now certain neighborhoods, South Side and West Side neighborhoods, where a lot of Black and brown people live, stores are closed, boarded up because they've been looted. And so people are upset about the fact that, well, now where I'm going to go grocery shopping, where's my medication going to come from? And so this could, I think what I hear you saying is it could overshadow the bigger picture, which is the whole thing, the justice for George Floyd. So, yeah, I've seen
Exactly.
both sides. I've seen some people say, I don't care nothing about people's property. These organizations got got insurance, and they're going to get money back. Then I've heard people say stuff like, hey, look, you know, that's not a way to resolve um, conflict. You know,
Right.
if we want to peacefully protest, that's fine. But you want to start breaking out windows and stuff like that, that's a whole nother thing.
I do think there needs to be an outcry, though. We've been dealing with this a long, long, long time. Not just in the last, we've been dealing with this for centuries,
Mm,
you know, and there needs to be some kind of outcry, and something needs to stop it. And I don't know that I know what it is or that I can say what the answer is, but enough is enough.
mm. So when you say an outcry, that sounds like a pleading, a sorrow. I mean, I know you said you don't know what it was, but
Well, when I say an outcry, I think what goes through my mind is that you just want to just stand back and scream as loud as you can, stop it. Not to the protesters, not to the rioters, to the people that continue to let this happen or watch it happen, or
mm,
the perpetrators that continue to make it happen. To some degree, we got to come to some resolutions.
mm. Who, if we were to stand back, or you and I, or you were to stand back and scream, "Stop it," who would the people we would be screaming "Stop it" to? Who would those people be?
Good
Because
question.
this kind of situation, it seems like there's no boogeyman, if you will. I mean, the police officers, but because you see this go on so many times in different places in different cities, it's like is it random, or is it calculated? Is there a systematic oppression? I mean, what's going on, and who do we take this to?
I don't know. I was watching a YouTube video this evening where Professor David Williams, the man that was on unnatural causes, he's a sociologist, and he was talking about they did some testing to say they tested all these people and they said, what words come to mind when you think about a Black person, when you think about a white person? And the top 20 words that came to mind about Black people, one of them was violent, one of them was dangerous, one of them was lazy, one of them was, there were some negative ones about the white people too, but he talked about implicit bias and the fact that there's a bias with people Americans, it seems, and I'm probably not just white Americans, probably Black Americans too, but
Hmm.
we've been categorized a certain way. So in their mind, they automatically feel like, even sometimes without realizing it, that because you're Black, you're lazy or you're violent or you're dumb or you're, and because this implicit bias is there, it's almost like an unconscious prejudice.
Hmm.
So we got to do some things to rectify that. I don't know exactly how we rectify it, but there's a lot of work to be done, and we need to work on it.
Is that work that we need to do, or the people who have the bias towards us need to do?
I think it's overall, I think it's for everyone to do.
Everyone.
But because it probably started way back at slavery,
Hmm.
and it's been perpetuated since then. And even though we've made some major strides, some, not as many as we need to make, we're not there yet.
Yeah, obviously. Obviously. So what would you like to see come of this? I mean, the looting in Chicago, I'm not sure back home has it stopped, if you've seen it. What would you like to see? How would you like to see this end or move on or be resolved?
You know, I said to you, and I was talking to someone else about recently about this whole what's going on with the coronavirus and that sort of thing.
Right.
And I think when we get to the other side of the coronavirus, we're going to be different.
Okay.
It's going to be better. It's going to be different. And wouldn't it be wonderful if, as a result of all we've gone through, with the new awakening that's embarking upon us, wouldn't it be great if, as a result of all this, racial prejudice was eradicated or at least lessened some?
Yeah, yeah. That would be definitely worth the coronavirus. No pun for people who lost their lives, but or no disrespect, shall I say? But if a virus could eradicate racism, that would be nothing short than a miracle, I would suppose.
It would take God, for
No
sure.
doubt. No doubt. Hmm. Okay. So I work at an organization and we had a conversation today with a group of young people about this, about, what's going on, their thoughts, their feelings. Most of the conversation focused on the riots, the looting, the violence, and how it's now hindering people from moving around. And also, there's this new thing about the relationships between Black and brown people. Now there's this, oh, there's a Black and brown war that's about to break out. And so what would you say to a young person, whether it be in Chicago or anywhere? I'm just kind of giving you some background of how to navigate through this. Because you just said this ain't new. This has been going on for centuries. And how would a elderly woman like yourself guide a young woman to navigate these very difficult times?
Well, everybody's got to have their own truth and their own set of values, their own set of standards. And one thing I know is paramount, especially now, is to hold fast to your belief in Christ and to know that that's going to take you a long way. To do what you can to stay out of compromising situations and things that are going to bring negative things upon you, and to do your best to be the best that you can be, whatever that happens to be in whatever situation you're in.
Okay.
I don't know that I have no great words of wisdom for anybody or any solutions, because I don't.
Yeah,
But
it's a complex issue, and has very. We talked about racism, we talked about economics being affected, and then all of this took place um, on top of a pandemic, a
yeah,
global pandemic at that, where people
right.
have been basically locked in the house for 2 months plus, and somewhat frustrated or maybe a little antsy about that. And then this happens. And again, like you said, this ain't new. I mean, this kind of outrage around about Black people being murdered by police officers is not new, women and men.
Right.
So yeah, it's a complex issue. But like you say, this outcry or something got to be done to stop this, whether it be initiated by people that's affected by it or people that's perpetrating it, or the perpetrator, shall I say. And I was thinking you had the answer. You was just going to give us 3 simple steps. Bam, bam, bam.
I really wish I had them, because if I had them, and I knew they were foolproof, I'd be glad to share them.
You'd be glad to share them. That's why I had you on here. I said, let me call my mama, and she would give us some guidance and direction. I didn't watch the video either, but as a mother, I'm sure it was kind of disturbing to hear or know that this man that was murdered even called out for his mother at the last.
I heard that.
Yeah, that's
I didn't watch the video, and I haven't watched a lot of newscasts since it happened. But even when I talk, of course, I've talked to a lot of people about it. Mm-hmm. Even when I talk about it, I'm moved to tears because, then when you think back about the other people, go back as far as Emmett Till and Trayvon Martins and people, you think, what in the world?
Yeah. What in the world?
Yeah.
Well, it don't look like this is over, unfortunately. We may be under more quarantine and cooped up even longer. And I don't think this particular situation has eradicated racism, but like you say, maybe the virus will bring us out different. I can only pray for that. That would be miraculous. And you said it here live. You're the first person who said it. So people are going to say, oh, yeah.
I do believe that the whole pandemic is embarking upon a new awakening. Now, what all the new awakening is going to bring, I don't know. But I do believe, and I have every confidence, that we're going to be better on the other side of this.
Okay. All right. Well, any final thoughts? You say you don't have any solutions, but,
No, I think that's all I got. I wish I had a magic wand or a secret formula, or could tell you which scriptures to read and which prayers to pray and how to say it, you can just blink your fingers and wake up the next morning and everything's going to be all right. That's not how life works, is it?
I haven't figured it out that way yet, but I wouldn't mind one of them wands you're talking about. Well, okay. Well, thank you. And like you said, we're going to continue to do this. I'm doing talks with other people to get different perspectives. One of the things that I do as a storyteller and as a comedian is use storytelling and even communication with other people to build community and help one another. People need to vent and get this out. People are really frustrated. People are really angry. It's triggering mental health issue and trauma in people, specifically people who've already had negative encounters with police enforcement or have been terrorized in some way. And so these issues seem to exacerbate this, which may be some reason why we have such this outpour of anger. I definitely believe that agitators were involved on many fronts. We've seen a lot of organized stuff going on in Chicago.
I believe that too. And maybe if we hadn't already been shut in for a couple months, it wouldn't have been quite as explosive. People probably need to get out, do some things, and go some places. And maybe if they had already released some of that tension, it wouldn't have been quite. I don't know.
I don't either. Well, God bless us and you. Thank you for being a first person to talk about this. But again, we're going to have a few more people talk about it, get different perspectives. because conversation is all over the place. Social media is blowing up. Black Twitter is blowing up. The news, of course, is blowing up, which is not always our friends. The news can be tricky. They can be very interesting bedfellows. So we got to watch the news because
Yes.
we have to be careful about the news because they can paint us in a bad light and then turn around and flip the script on us and want us to believe negative stuff about other people. So they can't always be trusted. So we have to just be careful with the news and dissect. But thank you again, Mary Hogan.
Thank
Sunny
you for
Speaks.
the opportunity, Clarence.
Yep. I'm going to make you a star. There you go.
Really? I'm going to be a star?
Yeah, when I post this, everybody gonna be like, "Who is that lady?" I'm gonna be like, "Yeah, I'll be your agent." All right, thank y'all. We'll see y'all soon.